Anthony Joshua claims he's ready to face Deontay Wilder and he wants that undisputed fight. So I'm going to quote Anthony Joshua here. He said, "I'm ready to fight Wilder. I've got my belts back and I'm ready to fight him, but I'm not looking too far into the future because it takes your eye off what's in front of you. I take it step by step. By the time I get to unification, I'll be ready. I'll knock them down one by one when the big boys are ready. I'll be ready to become the next undisputed champion of the world. I really want to make that happen." He goes on to say, "I'm focused on my next fight. Anyone can get it. My resume shows me that. I'll be keen to handle my mandatories because the current WBC champion is fighting Tyson Fury. Good luck to them. In the meantime, I will handle my mandatories because I don't want to vacate a belt. I've worked hard to get them, so I don't want to give them away." Well, yeah, he's not going to be able to fight an undisputed anytime soon anyway, because he's got the mandatories, as he says, and Wilder and Fury are fighting. So the undisputed is way off at the moment. And who's to say AJ gets past his mandatories? I've made a couple videos recently talking about heavyweight boxing's history of upsets. They happen again and again and again. And oftentimes it's in the golden eras of heavyweight boxing where you see the most upsets. Shocking results. And the reason why these upsets always happen, and look, for something to be an upset, it's all based on perception. The public perceives that one fighter is almost a dead cert to beat the other. And therefore, when the result doesn't go that way, it's an upset. It's a shock to the majority of people because their perception was very different from the reality. So why do these upsets keep on happening? Well, because people's perceptions are always way off. And in these golden eras of heavyweight boxing, we have all these talented fighters, knockout artists and, boxers and all that other kind of stuff. People get carried away with certain fighters, believing them to be invincible. But if you've followed boxing for long enough, you'll know that nobody's invincible. In fact, when you follow boxing for long enough, you'll start realizing that when the public, when the boxing fans are getting a little too carried away with a particular fighter, that's when the fighter is in most danger of being upset. We saw it with George Foreman, Mike Tyson, and many, many other fighters over the years. So that could happen again to any of their top heavyweights. Any of them could be in line for an upset right around the corner. There are much more accomplished heavyweights than Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua who have lost in big upsets. Much more accomplished. Mike Tyson was undisputed when he lost to Buster Douglas. Not had one green belt and hadn't fought most of the top contenders in the division like Deontay Wilder. No, Mike Tyson had all the belts. He'd fought all the top competition. He really was the undisputed. He'd even knocked out the lineal champion, right? Even he, the Iron Man himself, lost in a massive upset. So any of these guys could lose in an upset. Fury, Wilder, AJ again. Maybe AJ will get upset by Pulev. Maybe he'll get upset by Usyk. Those are his two mandatories. So the stuff that AJ said here, as far as he doesn't want to look too far ahead, well, he's had the shock of his life against Andy Ruiz first time around. He doesn't want to make that mistake anytime soon. That mistake again anytime soon. But hey, sometimes if you come up against a particular style, it is what it is. You might not have taken your eye off the ball. The guy was just too good for you. And when you've got somebody like Alexander Usyk as your mandatory, if he was to beat AJ, there would be no rematch because he's mandatory, right? Mandatory challenges generally, there's no rematch clause in the contract. So who knows, man? Maybe Usyk relieves him of all the belts. Maybe Pulev pulls off an upset. Pulev is up there in age now. What is he, 40? You wouldn't have thought Pulev could do it, but stranger things have happened in heavyweight boxing. And people really now should learn to expect the unexpected when it comes to this division. But as I say, I've done a separate video about that where I go more in depth. It's kind of frustrating for somebody who's been watching boxing as long as me, over 30 years. It's frustrating to see boxing fans repeating the same mistakes over and over again, believing that certain fighters can't lose, that there's only maybe one person in the whole division who can even challenge, who can even give him any work at all. Like, that is why upsets happen, because fans make these same mistakes over and over again. There are multiple fighters in the heavyweight division right now who could give Fury, Wilder, and Joshua hell, all of them, and potentially beat them on their best night. Oh yeah, but the public can't wrap their head around that. Most of the public think, no, the only people who are good enough to beat, for example, Wilder and Fury is Wilder and Fury, and maybe some people might say AJ on a good day might be able to beat one of them. But other than that, there's nobody who can even come close to beating Wilder or Fury. People, you are going to discover that that is so far from the truth, it's unreal. Okay? Your perceptions right now are way off if you think that nobody can touch Wilder or Fury in the division other than maybe AJ on a good day. You're way off. Way off. And again, this is what you learn when you've been following boxing for as long as me. You've lived through several heavyweight eras. You see the same patterns of behavior among the fans, getting attached to certain people, believing certain people are invincible. There's never been a heavyweight, probably in the history of the sport, who seemed as invincible as Mike Tyson. Twice as well, because he seemed invincible in the late 80s, going into the early 90s. Then he got knocked out by Buster Douglas in the biggest upset of all time. Not just heavyweight upset, biggest upset in all of boxing of all time. He seemed invincible. That's why it was such a big upset. Lost to a guy who was classed as a journeyman by many of the boxing pundits at the time. Then when he fought Holyfield was said to be washed up. I remember the time well. November 9th, 1996. Remember watching it live on Sky Sports Box Office. You had Michael Moorer fighting Francois Botha on the undercard. You also had Henry Akinwande fighting Alexander Zolkin on the undercard. It was a Don King promotion. It's a great card, by the way. But as I say, Holyfield was said to be washed up. Most people thought that Tyson would just walk straight through him, including me. It was a shock to me too. This is why, as a boxing fan, you kind of have to learn the hard way. But I learned my lessons. And it is frustrating looking at boxing fans now making the same mistakes that I made back in the days, buying into this myth that certain fighters are invincible. It's not true. And they usually end up, the fighters who get labeled as invincible, they're the ones who usually end up losing to a massive underdog, rather than them losing to one of their rivals who they're only a slight favorite over. They end up losing to some huge underdog. So anyway, AJ undisputed. Yeah, will he even get there? Will somebody beat him before he even gets the opportunity to fight Wilder or Fury, depending on who has the WBC belt at the time? Maybe Wilder or Fury is going to lose to somebody. You never know. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that Wilder or Fury won't be able to hold onto the WBC belt, because the WBC are not very strict with the mandatories. I mean, they've made Fury the mandatory, right? So if Fury beats Wilder, well, he's not going to have to defend against anybody for like a year or something. I think it is a year. It'll be Dylan White by February 2021. So, they've got a very cozy situation with that WBC belt. Yeah. So they should be able to, either Wilder or Fury should be able to hold on to that WBC belt for a very long time. But anyway, let me stop rambling here. Point being, we're not going to see the Undisputed fight for quite some time, no matter who wants to, actually partake in the fight, whether it's AJ who wants to, Wilder or Fury who wants to. We're not going to see it for now because of the mandatories and all that kind of stuff. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.